representative of NECA, was it? Who said it?
Private sector, they have their leadership. I want you to quote me. We have repeatedly said this over and over. Organized private sector said they are the least paid person within their sector. He received 78,000 naira before now. Remember, before now. So if you want to negotiate a wage increase, how much would you increase that person's salary that was receiving 78,000 naira before now? So how much will you increase it to? You want him to receive less than what he's receiving before all this inflation came up.
So in other words, you are saying if the 62,000 naira is approved, your argument is that the private sector then would be wrongfully paying some of its staff whom it has already agreed that it pays 78,000 minimum.
Yes, I want you to understand that this was what was obtainable before this crisis, before the crisis of survival hit Nigeria. And so it is, how do I call it, voodoo for some people to believe that the organized private sector will not pay. So we pay. They are even paying higher than that.
Okay.
Because I am from the private sector. Before getting into it. So I know what obtains in that sector. So nobody will come and tell us that they will not be able to pay.
All right.
They are able to pay and they are willing to pay. It is only the government that is trying to corral their leadership.
But that doesn't seem to be the position of the governor of Anambra State, Mr. Soludo, who said that he spoke to some business owners in the state, some of them who run bakeries and some. By the way, I think let's clarify that according to the act, correct me if I'm wrong, every company with employing 50 people and above is mandated to pay the minimum wage.
No.
What does it say?
The current act, the one that expired in April,
yes,
talks about those employing from 25% and above.
Okay.
But now we have asked that it should be those employing from 5% and above.
From 5?
We are talking about, that is what we have asked for. That is why I told you that the national minimum wage has components.
Okay. Hold on. If you are saying that
what is important to us.
If you are saying that people now, this is what you are suggesting. Already, what we have now as amended is 25. Because I remember it used to be 50, if I'm not mistaken. At 25, 25. So, do you think that a bakery that buys diesel at over 1,000 naira plus for a liter, that has to pay electricity bills that skyrocketed, that has to think about the cost of the machines that he uses in his factory and maintaining them, do you think that bakery makes enough money a month to be able to pay 25 people who are its staff a 250,000 naira?
Okay, I will only ask you a question. The bakery man, the owner of the bakery, sells his bread for 2,000 naira. He expects people to eat that bread. Is that not correct? Will it not be immoral for a worker that works in that bakery not to be able to afford the bread that he bakes? Will it not be immoral that a worker that works in that bakery, okay, will not be able to afford the bread that he bakes on daily basis because his salary is lower than a sustainable wage? We are talking about rights of people. When you pay wage, it's not about the number, it's about the value. 100,000 naira, for example, is a bag of rice. A bag of rice plus 12,000. You will not cook the rice. You will not put water in it. You will not use gas to cook it. You will not put maggi in it. You will not put crayfish in that particular rice. You just cook rice. So we're not talking of accommodation. We're not talking of transport. We're not talking of education, medical health. We're not talking of clothing. It is immoral. Nigeria receives the lowest minimum wage in Africa.
But the economy of Nigeria, compared to some of those nations around Africa, like Egypt, like Rwanda, I mean, name them, Tunisia, and the rest of them, those economies seem to be working better than ours. Don't you agree?
Why is it not working? Why is our own not working well? It's not working well because of people like Soludo. It's not working well because of the politicians. It is not because of workers. It is not working well because workers are not treated well. Workers are human beings. Whatever you do to a worker makes him to either commit to work more or to withdraw from work. If you pay a worker well, the economy will become better. But that is the reality. All those economies, are you we talking about comparing our economy with the Republic or with Rome? Our politicians are simply greedy. They are a wicked set of people in government.
But how do you explain? Because something else Soludo said.
I will give you an example.
Okay.
When they are collecting millions of naira, senators collect something million naira every month. National Assembly people the same thing every month. They collect it. They do not see the impact of that on the economy. It's when it comes to the salary of the poor that is where they begin to talk about impact. They bought 165 million naira worth of car for themselves. No impact. 20 billion naira went to build the vice president's lodge. Nobody talked about the impact on the economy. It is when it comes to the poor. All of them will crawl out from their holes. All of them will crawl out from where they are hiding to come and speak against the masses. And unfortunately, the masses are listening to these people. We should gather ourselves and go and throw stones at them. These people are evil. All
right, no, let's also temper the choice of words so it doesn't come as though you're inciting people to rise up in a violent manner against their leaders.
I am inciting Nigerians to come out and throw stones at these people.
We would not want that, please. Let's manage that, please. We don't want any form of violence, or would not encourage anybody, inciting anybody to come out in a violent manner. So please, it is okay to stand up for your right and speak and demand for the right things from your leaders, but in a violent manner, that we would not encourage as Nigerian. So please, Mr. Onyeka, let's pause that. Let's pause that, and let me also get you to address this. What would you then say? Because Mr. Soludo also raised up a concern that we might see massive job losses because many people in the private sector are already struggling to meet up with what the economy is, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. Understandably, people would question the politicians and political office holders to say, if the economy is not working, it's your fault because you have all the tools to do it. But as it stands now, this is the reality we are facing. If this happens, they have said there will be job losses. Has Labour thought about this? What does the government mean by there would be job losses if the wage is not something that is sustainable?
So fortunately, Soludo is an economist like myself. He only has a 1 year advantage over me. So I have a requisite capacity to interrogate anything that has to do with the economy, as the same way as Soludo has. And so I will speak to you that economic research has shown when salaries of workers are increased, we're not talking of salaries of politicians. When salaries are increased, it does not lead to serious cost addition to the average employer. But on the contrary, what it does is that it puts more money in the hands of workers who spend on the domestic economy. That also encourages the same producers that Soludo was talking about. Soludo knows this, and the producers will produce more, and the economy will become better. That is the business case, the economic case for increasing the salary of workers. It is not true that they will lay off workers. It is not true. It is not true at all, my brother. It is not true. These people have gone up again to speak against Nigerian masses, and we must persist. This is our responsibility to say no, that what people are saying is not true. Is Soludo telling us? Is it telling us that the hike in the electricity price was caused by workers? So why not remove, if they think about the cost, and if they are so much interested on the manufacturers, why not go revert to 66 naira per kilowatt hour for electricity? What would that one do? Why not reverse the rise in the price of PMS? Why not do that? Instead, you are holding on to what you are doing. You are standing on the people's head. And you are telling the people
but some Nigerians are saying if Labour, some Nigerians believe that if Labour accepts the 62,000 naira, but then holds the government accountable to ensure that the other indices that controls the economy are fixed, like the refinery, we do better with some other economic policies, perhaps the 62,000 naira would have some worth of value if we follow that direction. Because for many people, they think that even if we're paid 200,000 naira, we might still not get the value because the inflation is still going to take all of the monies back from the hands of the people, and it's going to be the same cycle.
National minimum wage is statutory.
Yes.
You must have to negotiate it periodically. That is one. Two, it is not our responsibility to govern Nigeria. We are not opposition party. It is not our. What we do is to make the lives of our people better, the life of workers better, the life of Nigerian people better. When they increase the price of PMS, we engage them. They say, no, go and then negotiate minimum wage. We will pay you people better. Now, when it has come to this, they have started gaslighting Nigeria. We should not accept. We are not stupid. You know, it's not our responsibility.
Mr. Onyeka, I need you to verify. You said when they removed removed subsidy.
When they hiked the price in a PMS, we went to them and engaged them. One of the things they said was,
hold on, after the commercial. Let's take a pause. We'll be back. We just have some technical issues that are being sorted out, so we continue with our conversation on the morning crossfire. Please do help to bear with us. Hello, Mr. Onyeka, are you still on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, quickly, we'll be taking some questions from the listener and messages on our various platforms, but then I'd need you to come back to where we were before that interruption we had for a commercial that I thought was supposed to go on. You had said that when subsidy was removed, you engaged the government, and the government said that it would pay you better. Can you please clarify that for us? Let's know what the position was.
We said that when the subsidy was removed, we went to government, and on June 1st, 2023, and they said, that is what your responsibility is, to protect workers and all of those. Go and negotiate minimum wage. We'll pay you minimum wage, appropriate minimum wage that will be able to take care of this increase. That was the promise. That was what they told us. And many Nigerians, some of them that you said are saying we should take it and manage, they're the same people that said, Labour, why are you people going and strike? That this is not your job. My brother, we are in this country together. It belongs to all of us. Okay? And the reality is that it's our responsibility to protect workers first and then protect Nigerian people. That's our responsibility. We are not the ones that are going to build the roads. We are not the ones that are going to set up health care facilities. We're not the ones. These are the ones that we have to hold responsible. And that responsibility, is for all of us and the civil society. And we have been doing that all these years. Port Harcourt Refinery, we held them to Port Harcourt Refinery, and they promised us December. And then some Nigerians, all these people like Shaludo, we say, they have promised you December, they will do it. Why not hold on to that? We hold on to that. Up to today as we speak, Port Harcourt Refinery has not come on stream. These are the kind of people that you are.
But that's what Nigerians are saying. Nigerians are saying that why wasn't Labour on strike and sustain a strike and say we are not calling this off until that refinery is working? Is it impossible for Labour to do something like that?
People like Shaludo will come and say, this is not a Labour issue. You should not go on strike. That is what people like Shaludo and their supporters will say. That is what they will say. They will call you all manners of names. They will threaten you. Remember that they sent army men to surround where we were negotiating. Until we leaked it to the public, there was no blood pressure on them to remove those army men. There are all manners of press on the trade unions and the trade union leaders over issues. And Nigerians must be awake. The trade union movement remains the last nation, the last hope of Nigerian people. And it's unfortunate. We must all join hands and not even speak in favor of these people who are oppressing us as men.
All right. Mr. Onyeka, let's take some messages now. On Facebook, I would start with Innocent. Orwell says, good morning. My question to your guests and other NLC leaders, will they pay their sales boys or girls, their personal drivers, 250K as minimum wage? Now, let me clarify. Like, it does not, minimum wage will not apply to a driver or a chef. It's in the act. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Onyeka. Minimum wage, it would not apply to drivers, to people who do part-time jobs, people who do on hourly pay, on the pay as I go service jobs. Minimum wage does not apply to all of that sector. So it does not apply to a driver, to a sales girl, to a house help. It doesn't apply to all of those things.
If you see, your home becomes a workplace. If you are employing somebody. So if you employ people, if we agree is from 5 upwards, then if the number of employees under your household is from 5 upwards, then the minimum wage applies.
But from 5, is that 5? I thought you said 5 upwards is what you are suggesting.
That is our position.
But at the moment constitutionally, what is there? 25.
It's 25.
So if you have 25 workers upwards, then you have to pay minimum wage.
You have to, yes. But if you have a driver, okay, that is just your driver, that you negotiate with the driver, the minimum wage does not apply to you. But in any case, I want people to understand that your worker, your domestic servant is a human being. He works for you, and you must pay him a decent wage. So you must consider that this man works for me, and his salary is what is going to depend on to take care of himself. So it's your responsibility if you're a human being, unless you are not a human being. The same way it affects you, it's also the same way it affects him. He goes to the same market with you. So you must consider all those variables before paying him, unless you want to be a slave master. But if you don't want to be a slave master, you must consider what you're paying him, that what you're paying him is enough for him to meet his basic needs.
All right.
We're not saying give him money to buy a car. We're not saying give him money to live in a mansion. At least if it's one person, give him money to be able to afford 1-room apartment. At least if it's one person. But if he has a family, you know that multiplies. Give him money to be able to send his children to school. I don't understand what is going on in our country.
God's time Abadi says, my position is what is okay. Therefore, the subsidy removal that put more money in the pockets of few, hence the federal government understanding economy and policy should have on their own rolled out plans to mitigate the minimum wage issues because they know that inflation is banned through that policy. Thank God Abadi says many people will lose their jobs because of this minimum wage. You don't give what you don't have. On the phone, let's go to the phone lines. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. On X, the poll is still up there. If you haven't joined us on X, go follow Nigeria Info PH. That's the handle. We're asking, how much would you consider a fair minimum wage for both public and private sectors? And we had 62,000 to 90,000 naira. We have 13.5% vote. For 100,000 to 200,000 naira, the vote has gone up to 66.9%. Between 250,000 naira to 450,000 naira, 16.3 votes, and 3.4% is voting for any other figure. That's so far what the poll is saying on X. But let's get to the phone lines and know what you are saying. Let me go to WhatsApp and take some of the messages. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. So 0809-030-6416. Now for some of the messages here on WhatsApp, this person says Labour is trying their best. All Nigerians, I'm trying to get what you're saying here. All Nigerians should be involved before government will respond. Ogo Ojone Justice says Labour is not being reasonable. Labour should have deployed all their energy towards having a better economy that will curb inflation, because it's not all about receiving 250k when a bag of rice is 100,000 naira. Ogo Ojone Justice, that's from you. This one is Onye. Stephen says labor is no more labor, which I used to know. They don't have the masses at heart. Where was labor when the price of petrol, cement, power supply all went up? That's the question he's asking. I think my guest had answered some of these questions in the course of our conversation, talking about the various times Labour had approached the government when all of these things were happening and the response that they got from the government. This person says the media should also tell the public that these governors have more money as a result of petrol subsidy removal. And I think everybody would agree and said that I for one, I've said I don't believe that the state governors cannot pay this money in every state. I mean, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I say if they begin to properly manage the resources and let the resources go to who the resources should go to, which is the people, it's possible. But then we also have to consider the private sector. That's where now we're looking at the situation, and my guest has been putting out the position of Labour with regards to that. Jonas from Rukboku, let's start with you. With your question or contribution, straight to the point. We have the Labour leader on the line. I'm sure he would respond accordingly.
Okay, what I want to ask the Labour man there is, are they fighting for the Nigerian workers or the whole Nigerians, all Nigerian citizens? Because what I'm trying to understand now is they are focused only in Nigerian workers. They don't know that there's some of Nigerians that don't have any work, who any sort of job they see they do, that also go the same market with them, do everything, the same thing with them. I want to know, are they really fighting for the workers alone?
All right, Jonas, you get a response. We'll take a few more calls. I'm sure my guest is taking notes of these questions and he would attend to them accordingly. Let's go to Ada George, where Chima is on the line. Hello, Chima. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
You're welcome, Chima.
Thank you. Andrew, I think Labour demands are legit. They are supporting all this while. But my misgivings is when Labour, your guest in the studio said when petrol price went up, they went to approach President. And President told them that they are going to increase their wages, which means they went there to be able to negotiate for themselves alone. That is it. Then let me tell Nigerians, you must not wait for Labour leader to fight and ensure a better economy. Look, the Labour is fighting for their workers. I do not blame them, honestly. They have that right to fight for their workers, for a better wages. But Nigeria must not focus on Labour. Look, we have the right to say, government, we want this refinery fixed. It must not be Labour. Please, let's not start each time we antagonize Labour this, Labour that. Please.
All right, Chima, thank you very much. In Buguma, George is on the line. Good morning, George.
Yes, Andrew.
Yes.
Good morning. And let me greet your guest. I think he has done very well. This morning he has really met the heart of rivers and Nigerian people. Honestly, where I am very much overwhelmed with his positions this morning. Now, Andrew, what we are talking about, the whole thing is just about the economy of this country. And you remember in 2015, before the president now is telling us that he succeeded a wrong foundation from his predecessor, forgetting that they were the same people, Onyeka and all of them in 2015, chanted in the streets of Nigeria that they are coming to correct the wrong and they will do everything to better the laws of Nigeria, to better the economy, and to do everything. It's like the Messiah in heaven is coming down and all of that. That is what they told Nigerians. Only to come and tell us that he succeeded the wrong economy from his predecessor. Now, Nigerians are waiting for him yesterday to actually point out this is how much we are set out to give to these people. And now you are giving excuses and all of that. The problem solution is not far-fetched. My brother, what they have to do, cut down the economy, the jumbo packages that is given to House of Reps, senators,
and other sources that this Bombo Nigeria money is going to. And then make sure that you provide fuel so that goods and services will rotate around the country. That's
all right,
not the
George.
problem. I don't know. This whole thing, economic solution, is not a big problem.
Thank you, George. In Rumigbo, Precious is on the line. Hello, Precious. Good morning. Unfortunately, we lost that call from Precious. Let's go over to David. David is calling us from Yenagoa. Good morning, David.
Yeah, greetings from the city.
All right, David, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Yes. See, I've listened to your guests very keenly. But for me, all I want to say is, in everything Labour is doing, Labour should know that 200 or 100,000 naira, this is my personal opinion, will not be realistic for government to pay. If government can pay that, what about the private sector? In anything Labour is doing, you cannot rule out the private sector. Looking at the present economic situation of Nigeria, they should take into consideration that there are private sectors who are paying their people. And again, too, looking at from what I've seen that is coming up from the various state governments, what they can pay, some of them have gone up to 100. So Labour should be realistic and also consider
David, let me ask this question. Yes. Do you honestly think that the various state governments cannot pay 100,000 naira minimum wage? Do you honestly think that they don't have the resources to do that?
They have the resources, but it depends on the states. Looking at, Nigeria is structured in such a manner that we share from FAC allocation. And most of the states, the allocations that gets to them is not equal to that the ones that gets to others. For some, they receive lesser. And for some, they do not have or they do not use the mineral resources within their domain. They do not produce anything. They just wait for Abuja to give back. So in states like that, I don't think they can pay up to 100,000 naira. And they said it clearly. It's just that, it's just that some of our governors, with all due respect to them, are unnecessarily lazy. I don't blame Labour. Looking at the attitude, the manner at which politicians are behaving and spending money stupendiously without taking recourse or sympathy for the ordinary man. That is why Labour is provoked. How do you look at a politician who will just come and say sometimes the political SSA, no office, an appointment for 3 months and he's going home with 1 or 2 million naira after that 3 months he has spent? Why won't Labour be provoked? They will be provoked. We are all Nigerians. So for me, governors are unnecessarily lazy. Some governors in their states, as we speak today, now they say power is on the concurrent legislative list. Shouldn't they be thinking of how to generate electricity in their place and sell it to use it to make money for themselves? Can't governors build modular refineries and generate money from it?
All right, David, thank you. Let's go to Kana. Kabari is on the line in Kana. Kabari, good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why can't Nigerian government pay over 200,000 naira minimum wage when compensatory government is the order of the day? Would that have been?
Kabari, you might have to call us back. I think you got rudely interrupted by your service provider. We go to Ubimini now, where Ken is on the line. Hello, Ken. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew.
You're welcome, Ken.
In the first instance, I think Labour got it wrong. Had it been at the initial time, they started the agitation by asking government to fix up the refineries. I think by now we should have known where we are. So this their off and on strike is why it seems as if they are not doing something for the masses of the nation. If we are talking about minimum wage, I think nothing will wage out without the refinery being fixed up. Because you and I know that refinery is where the common and essential commodity is feeding up and making our economy to boast in this country. So if you ask me, the first step of Labour was the problem they are having for now. Thank you very much. Ezekiel, calling from.
All right, thank you very much. Divine in Woji, let's hear you now. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
You're welcome, Divine.
Straight to it, Labour
Bob, thank you for all you're doing for workers. I'm also a worker. Secondly, please do not step down from your take. It's either what you have said or no going back. The government can afford it. The economy will not crash, and the sky will not fall. If a politician, House of Assembly, House of Rep, can take close to 30 million naira home every month, they want me to take 33,000 naira, 500 naira home, they are not being reasonable. That is not what they pay us currently as workers, as minimum wage, is not enough to feed their dog in the house every month. It's not enough. And you want me, human being, to depend on that. And I go to the same market their wives go to. My wife goes to the same market with their wives. So how do you want us to survive? If they can cut out, if they say it's too much, if you run out the economy, then they should look at what they receive every month and cut it down. If almost 30 million cannot ruin the economy, my brother, 400,000, 600,000 will not ruin the economy. It's a simple as short. Thank you.
Bob from Ilili, let's hear you.
Okay. Andrew.
Yes, Bob.
There's one thing, one aspect of this discussion that we have not mentioned.
Okay.
The fact that there is a state called Food Basket of the Nation. And this last administration entered. There was a time the president Buhari gave an order, visa on arrival. That was when our country was invaded by these hoodlums called bandits or Boko Haram. Now they are migrated to go and hijack the farmland in the name of herdsmen, so that the people who are farming, especially the food basket of the nation they call, can no longer go to farm. They rape their women. Federal government did not say anything. What are the army, are the police or DSA doing in their barrack, only guarding politicians? And we are not fighting war with any external war or any internal war. This internal war, we are fighting. Can they discharge the army to go to the farms, lands, where we know that these food are coming from? One. Instead, they decide to stay on the road, collect money from every truck that loads food to each of the states. Then, if we talk about refinery and all that things, the security of these farmers who have the mind to go to the farm and bring food crops to the city are not protected. We hear massacre in Benue, massacre. What has the government done to make sure that these people are protected? These things are also cause of rising inflation in our country. That where the food is coming from, the people are not protected. Even if they die, nobody talk about them. Nobody even, So this aspect should also be considered. The army should be discharged into the farmland. And guys, now doctors, we got to have doctor, veterinary doctor. We don't have doctors. Got to have AK-47 people guiding them. Women don't have security.
All right, Bob.
So that's my own take.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Stanley in Abuloma, and then we go to Kabari, then we go to my guest. Stanley, good morning.
Good morning, Jimmy.
Yes, go on.
Yeah. We just heard your guest, and we are on all fours with him. I mean, the Nigerian people. It's funny, really, Jimmy, that Labour will be held responsible for the economy of Nigeria. Personally, I don't believe Nigeria has any economic problem, because if Nigeria does have economic problem, the legislators, the executives, the judiciary will not be having jumbo pays. By the time they gave themselves all those jumbo pays, enjoying it, have wonderful houses, the vice president, the president have palatial quarters, billions of naira going into that, and somebody tells me there is economic crisis in Nigeria. There is no economic crisis. There is only economic crisis when Labour is asking for increment, and justifiably so, because it is part of the law that they have to ask for increment or review of their salary or their salary structure periodically. So there's nothing wrong in what Labour is doing. And for anybody to say that Labour should now, why is Labour not going on strike based on the economic problem? Why is Labour? Is it the responsibility of Labour for the economy? If Nigerians feel or believe that we have economic crisis, they know where to go to. not to labor. They know where to go to. That is not labor's business.
All right, Stanley.
Labor is fighting for their rights. They are fighting for their wages. They are asking for this thing from their employers. Anybody is entitled, any employee is entitled to ask for review of his salary or his salary structure. At that point, you want to not tell me, oh, there is problem. Yeah, there is problem. Meanwhile, I'm seeing you are enjoying yourself. From the sweat, from taxpayers' money, you are making progress with your life. You're doing so well. Your children are abroad. Everything is working well for you. It is only labor that will not bear the consequence of bad governance. It is only labor that will not bear the consequence of political brouhaha in Nigeria. No, we are playing in this country, honestly.
All right, thank you, Stanley. Let's go to Kana, please. Let's hear from Kabari quickly, and then we come to wrap up. Kabari, please, in under a minute, do what you can.
My brother, the government of Nigeria, both state and federal, has what it takes to pay even over 400,000, 500,000 minimum wage. Are you with me? Compensatory government is the order of the day today because of our flourishing economy. Because of listen, let me speak as a Niger Delta. Do you know what the Niger Delta go through? We are recipients of kerosene, and you see people suffering from that. Supposing you were even cooking and your gas finishes, what happened? You cannot fall back to kerosene. You cannot find kerosene anywhere. We are the law, so then anarchy starts. Are you aware? So the government of Nigeria are more than wicked, and I totally support that man. If at this stage, okay, there is a need for us to incite, then let us stand inside three. Let us stand inside three. Are you with me? Nobody that cannot die. The government of the day are anarchy. That is the truth. They don't mean well for you. Are you telling me, as a rivers man, that the rivers government cannot pay 500,000 minimum wage? Who told you that? Then you are talking what you don't know. Because we know the system. We know what we have. We know what is in our possession here. What are we talking about? Do you know how much that the government is spending? Do you know how much they pay their campaign? These are people that are even not existing in the hierarchies of government, of the state and the nation. The waste money in hotel for female. What are we talking? There is money in the land. They have faith in their economic objectivity. And people are perishing. People are dying. And you say they shouldn't talk. Because if you talk, they will get you arrested. They will kill you. Who they fear them? Who they fear them? The truth is that I blame my brother, who as a result of love of money, they back down at the detriment of other poor Nigerians and Niger Deltas. Otherwise, the truth here is that, look, we are ready to speak until we die.
All right, Kabari. Thank you, Kabari, but we have to interrupt you there and come back to my guest as we wrap up. Mr. Onyeka, you've heard the callers, mixed reactions. The last one here, very emotional with his speech. We had to interrupt him because we already have less than 3 minutes. So we'll give that to you to give your last response on the show as we wrap up.
Okay. Basically, you have heard from Nigerians. That is how Nigerians feel about what is going on. You know, and it's our responsibility. The same anger with which people have spoken is also to ensure to hold government accountable. It's our responsibility. And LCNTUC are trying to hold government accountable, at least accountable to the resources that is our collective patrimony. Accountable, you know, to their policies. If their policies are wrong-headed policies, then the consequences must not have to be borne by the citizenry. The consequences can only be borne by those who are formulating those policies. We have to let them understand that we all belong to Nigeria. We are all entitled to the resources of Nigeria. Workers and the masses of Nigeria are entitled to survive. We are entitled to survive. At least we want to live. We're not saying they should pay us what they're paying themselves, but we're saying they should pay us decent wage. The one that will enable you to buy clothes for yourself, live in a house, put food on the table, okay, go to hospital when you are sick. We have asked them. The money, the amount you are offering us, can you break it down? What is it for? When we demanded for 650, we broke it down. We said this one is for electricity. This one is for food. This one is for transport. We have asked government, the money, the amount you're offering us, what is it for? Can you break it down so we know? Or you just rose up and gave us a figure. They refused because they know they can't break it down. Bread is nearly 2,000 naira for one. So let's assume a family wants to eat bread only a day. Okay? So you buy 6,000 naira bread. In a month, that is 180,000 alone bread. You have not added the water. You have not added...
All right, Mr. Onyeka, we have to say thank you here because we're already out of time. Hopefully, we wait to see what the future brings with regards to this current issue on the minimum wage. Thank you again.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.
My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Good morning. Stay tuned for Hello Port Harcourt.